Welcome to Strange Travels. I'm Lauren, and that's Clint, and we're from Nashville. We love to travel, whether it's a day trip or to another country. We love seeking out new experiences, hiking with our dog Lilly, and finding amazing food along the way. In today's video, come with us as we go on Jason Sudeikis' barbecue crawl. We hit 5 of the most popular spots in Kansas City, trying so many different dishes, from the burnt-end sandwich at Gates to the amazing hickory pit beans at Jack Stack. Besides barbecue, we also tried a sandwich featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives, had some amazing coffee flights, donuts, ice cream, and more while checking out the sights of Kansas City. Here we go! Welcome to Kansas City.
We're here to tackle Jason Sudeikis' ideal Kansas City barbecue crawl and also try some iconic Kansas City food.
But before we get to the food, we know there were a lot of videos you could have clicked on, and we're thankful you chose to watch ours.
We hope you enjoy this video as much as we enjoyed making it. So if you do enjoy it, we hope you'll click the thumbs up below.
Slimy? It's satisfying.
And even more than clicking the thumbs up, we hope you will click to subscribe. It is free to you and helps us tremendously.
And by subscribing, you'll also catch all of our future adventures and food tours. You can also follow us and connect with us on Instagram for even more content.
Now let's go eat.
How would you describe your ideal Kansas City barbecue crawl?
Ooh. I mean, it's hard, man. It's like I want burnt ends, you know, from say Gates.
Gates Barbecue has been serving Kansas City some of the best barbecue on the planet since 1946.
With its iconic red roof and strutting man in full tuxedo and top hat, you are welcomed with their iconic "Hi, may I help you?" That is when you have entered the Smile Zone.
We followed Jason Sudeikis' suggestion and ordered the burnt-end sandwich.
The burnt-end sandwich comes with burnt ends slathered with their original sauce, served as a hoagie. The bread is so soft and fluffy. Okay, here we go. It's gonna be messy.
I am so excited about this. It's gonna be messy, like you said, but here we go. This might be my favorite so far. For me personally, I think this burnt-end sandwich that we had might be like definitely the best. We haven't been everywhere yet, so I'm not ready to say it yet, but it is very memorable to me. Like, I think it's one of those things that I will wish anytime I'm like, I want a burnt-end sandwich, it's like I will immediately think of Gates.
I'll take, pulled pork from Kansas City Joe's.
Joe's Kansas City Barbecue started as a barbecue competition team called the Slaughterhouse Five. And after winning competition after competition after competition after competition after competition,
Jeff and Joy Steeney, along with Oklahoma Joe Don Davidson, opened their first restaurant in Kansas City in 1996 that happened to also be a gas station.
For Jason Sudeikis' Kansas City barbecue crawl, he said he would come to Joe's for pulled pork, and that is their house specialty.
And since it's their house specialty, that's what I got, and I can't wait to try this. Here we go. It doesn't even need barbecue sauce. That's when you know it's good.
All right, I'm pretty excited to try this. Here we go. Got to figure out what side to start with. I'm going in the middle. That pulled pork, smoked to perfection.
while here we had to try another item on the menu, the famous Z-Man. This sandwich is supposed to be so good that fellow Kansas City native Paul Rudd has said he would fly this sandwich to New York where he lives.
It is named after a sports talk radio host, and it comes with brisket, provolone cheese, barbecue sauce, and onion rings on a Kaiser bun. All right, here we go. Yeah, it's a pretty darn good barbecue sandwich right there.
All right, here we go. Yeah, it's a pretty darn good sandwich.
Anthony Bourdain said this was one of the 13 places that you have to eat before you die. And he's right, because it was delicious.
Yes, the pulled pork, oh my gosh, it was so juicy.
That pulled pork, if you had told me that there was a pulled pork sandwich out there that did not need any barbecue sauce.
Yeah, true.
Every pulled pork sandwich has got to have barbecue sauce on it, but not this one. The pulled pork is so good. It's so full of flavor, so smoky.
But if you do want to put barbecue sauce on it, there are two different kinds. They have the Joe's Original Barbecue Sauce, and then I also had to try the hot barbecue sauce. They're both delicious.
And the Z-Man was also amazing. Those crunchy onion rings had such a good texture to it, and that provolone cheese melted all over the brisket. It's so delicious, and this place was incredible. I'm gonna miss it when we're gone.
I'll take, any of the sides from Jack Stack.
Started by Russ Fiorella in Kansas City back in 1957, Jack Stack began as a traditional storefront barbecue stand with a modest selection of 5 to 6 items. Jack Fiorella, the eldest son, worked with his father until 1974 when he decided to branch off and start Fiorella's Jack Stack.
To stand out in the competitive Kansas City barbecue scene of the mid-1970s, he and his wife Dolores created the most extensive barbecue menu in the country that included mouth-watering side dishes like hickory pit beans and cheesy corn bake.
First side, I'm gonna try the hickory pit beans. They look really good. All right, here we go. That's up there. I mean, that might be some of the best beans I've had. Next up is the cheesy corn bake. And I don't really know what to expect, but it looks creamy and cheesy. Here we go. Very cheesy, but really, really good.
Okay, cheesy corn bake, here we go. That is really good. It's like, instead of macaroni and cheese, it is just the same cheese, but on corn. And it is delicious. It's so good. And now for these baked beans, I made sure to even sneak a little piece of meat in this spoonful. So here we go. I see why Jason Sudeikis has a specific category for sides, because these sides are so good, and these baked beans steal the show.
And then we also got the cheesy potato bake, which is actually a signature side. And these look excellent as well. You cannot go wrong. Those are all excellent, but the winner is the beans. 100%. If you can only get one side, do not miss the beans. After eating most of those barbecue beans, I can say that they might be the best, and they might be my all-time favorite beans.
Jack Stack's has some pretty stellar sides on their menu, and I think we chose 3 of some of their best, and the beans being number 1.
Do not miss the beans, period. Whatever else you get, but do not miss the beans.
I'll do, Q39 for the turkey.
Q39 is the new kid on the Kansas City barbecue block. When graduate of the Culinary Institute of America, chef Rob McGee and his wife Kelly opened it in 2014 as the area's first chef-driven scratch kitchen barbecue restaurant. And it was a hit.
Jason Sudeikis said he would come here for the turkey. However, there's no turkey on the menu. We'll blame that on the hot sauce. So we ordered the closest thing on the menu to turkey, chicken. We ordered the best wings on the planet. That is actually their name on the menu. We also ordered a sample of their certified Angus beef brisket, the burnt ends, Mexican street corn, and baked beans.
I don't even know where to start, but I'm going to start with the sides. We got some Mexican street corn. Next we have the baked beans. And it has burnt ends in it. Burnt ends. The barbecue sauce is really good. Last but not least, the brisket. Oh yeah. I mean, it's all really good. You cannot go wrong with this plate. It comes with 2 sides. You get the brisket, the burnt ends. We're just sharing all of it. All right, now it's time to try the best wings on the planet, according to them. And it's with a Chipotle barbecue sauce. So not a huge Chipotle fan, so I'm interested to see. But she said they are flash fried and then actually grilled in the Chipotle barbecue. So here we go. These are pretty darn good, and they're super juicy. Oh my goodness, I don't know if you can see the juiciness, but super juicy.
And then I'll do my brisket from Arthur Bryant.
The story of Arthur Bryant starts in 1908 when Henry Perry, who hired Arthur's brother Charlie to his barbecue stand. Charlie took over for Henry in 1940, and upon Charlie's death in 1946, Arthur took over the operation, and 3 years later moved the restaurant to where it stands today, attracting celebrities, former presidents, and guests from across the globe.
We are at Arthur Bryant's barbecue, and this is where Jason Sudeikis said he would come and get brisket. So that's exactly what we did, and we got the half brisket sandwich. Yes, this is the half size, and I mean, it's monstrous. I don't even know how I'm gonna, this is gonna be the biggest bite, so bear with me. All right, here we go. That is delicious, and the bread is so soft and squishy. Oh, yeah, this is really good.
If you order the brisket sandwich, you can order it old school or new school. We got new school, which is without sauce, but you can request to have it old school, which they will add the original sauce to the sandwich. But we're gonna try it in its purest form. Here we go. That is some good brisket. And now I'm gonna try it with Arthur Bryant's original sauce. You may have seen this sauce in the show Ted Lasso.
Maybe something in here can help cheer you up. Yeah? Oh, hey now. Look at that right there. You know, this right here is some of the best barbecue sauce in Kansas City, which makes it some of the best barbecue sauce in the world. Oh, yes.
Here we go, old school style. Old school style is the way to go. Not because the brisket needs it, but because this sauce is so good. There's a reason Arthur Bryant is the most renowned barbecuer in history. I see why people travel from all across the world for that sauce and that barbecue. In conclusion, if you're visiting Kansas City, I definitely think the Jason Sudeikis barbecue crawl is a great guide of how to tackle the barbecue here in Kansas City. It can be a little overwhelming visiting all of these spots and trying to figure out what to get at each place, because each of them are so good in their own unique way. If you follow Jason Sudeikis' ideal barbecue crawl, can't go wrong.
I don't think he'll steer you wrong. I definitely think it was a good way for someone that's never been to Kansas City to experience it that way, and that way you don't have to worry about, what are you gonna get at each place. That completes our Jason Sudeikis Kansas City barbecue crawl. But we're not done with Kansas City just yet. This city still has a lot more to offer when it comes to food and drinks.
We are here at Pigwich in Kansas City, which was featured on Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dives. And head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs, Andy Reid, was on that episode. And if Pigwich is good enough for him, it's good enough for me. Because if there's one thing that Coach Reid knows besides football, it's good food. And we came here for one item, and that is the Big Pig. The Big Pig comes with fried chicken, pulled pork, pepper jack, American and provolone cheeses, jalapeno pickles, ranch, barbecue sauce, spicy Njuja spread. I don't know what that is, but I'm excited. This looks awesome. Here we go. That is so good. It's a little spicy. The fried chicken, the breading is so crispy. I don't know if you could hear the crunch.
I've been staring at this sandwich way too long. It looks so good. Here we go. Oh my gosh. It's a little bit of spice, not too much. I'm gonna devour this whole thing because I'm so hungry and it just tastes so good.
That is one of the best sandwiches I've ever had. Maybe one of the greatest sandwiches of all time. Some may call it the Patrick Mahomes of sandwiches.
We spent an afternoon at the Latin American coffee shop, Café Ollama, to work and split a coffee flight, including the Latin specialty, Café de Olla.
Before dinner, we came to the oldest bar in Kansas City, the Peanut, which has existed since 1933 and was actually a speakeasy before then. We decided to have a beer after work and sample the best wings in town. This is the original location on Main, but there's another location downtown.
For a nightcap, we came to PS, which is a speakeasy located in the basement of Hotel Phillips, for some espresso martinis.
PS is a 1930s style speakeasy, and it's located in what used to be a mail sorting room, which is where it gets its name, PS, as in postal service, or it could be postscript because, PS lives in the basement of a letter.
The next day, we spent our afternoon working at Café Corazon, another amazing Latin American coffee shop with more coffee flights to sample.
Before dinner, we decided to come to Swordfish Tom's for drinks. Swordfish Tom's is located in the Crossroads area. It is actually named after the owner's favorite Tom White album, Swordfish Trombones. It's located in an alleyway, so it's difficult to find the entrance, but once you find it, you will enter, go down a set of stairs, and then you will see the lanterns. The red light means they are at capacity and you would have to come back later. If you see a green light, that's when you want to knock on the door and wait for the host to let you in to this awesome little speakeasy that makes handcrafted cocktails, and boy, are they delicious.
If you're looking for somewhere fun to go before or after dinner, we highly recommend Swordfish Tom's. It's such a cool atmosphere, and they have a seasonal cocktail menu that changes often. So I feel like if we come back at a different time, they'll probably have all new cocktails. So definitely recommend coming here.
We couldn't come to Kansas City without visiting Boulevard Brewing Company, which has been producing some of the finest beer in America since 1989.
We're actually at the beer hall, which was established in 2016, and we're sitting out here on the patio. It's the perfect night. We have flights, but the best part is the view. One night we were craving something sweet, so we visited the popular Betty Ray's ice cream. Betty Ray's began scooping handcrafted ice cream in Kansas City in 2015.
Betty Ray's mission is to be more than just ice cream. Each year, Betty Ray's dedicates and donates 10% of its profits to local, national, and international organizations, charities, and individuals seeking to advance and serve their communities.
They offered 26 flavors, and seasonally, they even offered Joe's Kansas City barbecue and burnt ends ice cream with real meat. They also have ice cream flights, and they have a couple of different ones, and we went with the Adventure, which is goat cheese, apricots, and walnuts. That's all one. And then mint plus chocolate flakes, matcha, which I think is very interesting, creme brulee, and then Thou Mayest coffee. And I got to sample the coffee, and it is delicious. So I can't wait to try the rest of these because I'm sure they're going to be just as good. It's starting to melt fast, so I'm going to try the creme brulee. Oh my gosh. I told Clint that if this was all really good, we're just going to have to come back because they also make homemade waffle cones, and it was really hard to decide. So we might just have to come back.
We had to eat that ice cream pretty quick because it melts fast.
There was a really long line, but it moves really quick, so don't let it scare you away. For breakfast, we came to Donutology to get some custom-made mini donuts.
This Donutology location, specifically Donutology at the Trolley, you can come sit inside of a Kansas City streetcar. Kansas City streetcars were originally pulled by horses and mules in 1869. And in the early 1880s, Kansas City began using cable cars. And by 1912, the city had one of the most extensive cable car systems in the country.
Because I love cinnamon rolls, we had to get a glazed fried cinnamon roll. Okay, here we go. I mean, I've had my fair share of cinnamon roll donuts. Never disappoints.
We also got a personal pack which comes with 6 mini donuts. We got the French toast, the candied bacon, the s'mores, the peanut butter cup, strawberry shortcake, and nutter butter. On the mini donuts, they're made fresh and it's so crispy, the dough. The first one that caught my eye was the nutter butter. Here we go. Yeah, they're so good.
And I'm gonna try the French toast. Here we go. Oh yeah, do not leave here without getting even just a mini 6-pack of these because they're made to order, fresh, they're warm. Yeah, they're good. For lunch, we came to Town Topic Hamburgers, which has been here since 1937.
We both got the cheeseburgers, and they are made fresh to order, so they come to you hot off the griddle. In fact, I would describe this place as the hamburger version of Waffle House, and if that doesn't excite you, then you probably stopped watching this video a long time ago.
Our next stop, we came to Afterword Tavern and Shelves, which is part bar, part coffee shop, and part bookstore. And this place is really cool. They have games. It just is like a really cozy spot. And so I got the whiskey sour. And look, it comes with peach rings. Next, we stopped at Casual Animal Brewing Company for beer flights. Not only was it a fun environment with great beer, they also allow dogs inside the brewery. So if we're ever in Kansas City with Lilly, we will be sure to come back here.
For dinner, we came to the Golden Ox, which opened in 1949, and after 65 years in business, they closed in 2014, but then reopened under new ownership in 2018.
We're here because the Golden Ox is credited as the birthplace of Kansas City strip steak.
I've heard that the biggest difference between a New York strip and a Kansas City strip is, in fact, the distance the cow had to travel to get to New York, rather than already being in Kansas City. That's just what I've heard. Don't shoot the messenger. I've just heard that the Kansas City strip is fresher because the cow was already here. It's time to try Kansas City strip steak. Here we go. It's a good steak.
All right, Kansas City strip steak, here we go. I'm not even sure the last time I've had a strip steak, but that is excellent.
We highly recommend the Golden Ox Classic after dinner drink, the Pink Squirrel. I would describe the flavor as a chocolate-covered cherry.
We came to Harvey's at the historic Union Station here in Kansas City because on Sundays they have a big brunch buffet and the hours are 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. and it's $30 a person.
Kansas City's Union Station opened October 30th, 1914. It has been host to some historical events, including the Kansas City Massacre in 1933, which led to the FBI changing their policy and allowing their agents to carry firearms. Today, you may recognize this venue as host of large events such as the NFL Draft or parades when their NFL team, the Kansas City Chiefs, win a Super Bowl again.
Okay, after having plate after plate, I can say without a doubt, this is 100% worth it. I feel like the selection and the variety of this brunch is awesome. Like they have a whole side of breakfast, they have a whole side of lunch, they have cocktail shrimp, salmon, prime rib, and then they have plenty of desserts. And yeah, I would highly recommend, especially just being in this historic building. I feel like it just makes it that more meaningful.
Now it's time to get out of Kansas City because we have eaten so much.
We had some amazing barbecue while we were here, but I think one of my favorite things that we ate all weekend was the Jack Stack beans. And I felt validated after our Uber driver said the same thing. It was like his favorite, so that really validated it for me, but they were delicious.
And by far, my favorite barbecue sauce that we tried on this trip was the Arthur Bryant's barbecue sauce, the original sauce. And I will be trying to find some at the airport.
I will say, even though I guess if you want to talk about barbecue, because I know beans is a little bit of a cop-out, I will say my favorite overall barbecue sandwich, anything that we've had, was definitely the Gates burnt ends barbecue sandwich. It was on a hoagie. It was soft. Oh, it just, I can't stop thinking about it.
And outside of the traditional barbecue joint, we both agree that Pigwich deserves to be included on some of our favorites, because the Big Pig sandwich was so good, and we will be talking about that sandwich for a long time.
Clint and I were both talking last night, and we were trying to figure out where Kansas City was on our list, because again, this is our first time, and honestly, it's so underrated. Like, we loved everything about it. We know the weather wasn't perfect at times, but overall, the barbecue, the people, like everything that we encountered, like we would 100% come back, and we hopefully will come back because there is still plenty of barbecue to try.
The people are amazing, the food is delicious, all the history here. This city deserves more attention, more love than it gets, because I don't think it gets the recognition it deserves. In conclusion, I think it's safe to say Jason Sudeikis is pretty good at this food thing.
Yeah, I think we should probably see where else he's been.
I always figured that tea was just gonna taste like hot brown water. And you know what? I was right. Yeah, it's horrible. No, thank you.
Welcome to England.
We hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to subscribe below, and now you can also check out our brand new website where we will be sharing our travel guides and more. Make sure you also follow us on Instagram so you'll know when we post new travel guides.
Obviously, don't go and do that, please.
Hey, you do whatever you like.
We can't condone anything of the sort.
We can't live! Live!